Instagram live interviews, where we meet some Wattpad authors who are out there making waves. I'm your host, Rodney V. Smith, comedy and horror writer, Wattpad star, Wattie Award winner. Someone made the mistake of giving me access to this account, so here we are. Joining us today is Wattpad writer and star, the wonderful Wendy Million. I had to do that because of the alliteration.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Well, you know, it's the writing to me. I have to go for the easy joke. All right, so Wendy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I'm a teacher. I live in Ontario, Canada. I've been on Wattpad since 2016. I have a 3-book romantic suspense series published with a small press. I have 1 ebook published with Wattpad Books. I have another one called Mismatched, which is coming out in 2023. Sorry, I think you can probably hear my dogs in the background. And what else? And then I self-publish books as well. I have Northern University series, and then the Bellerive Royals, which is like my made-up island, and I have a bunch of books coming out with that as well.
So you're pretty much busy all the time.
Pretty busy, yeah. I'm writing constantly. So
between teaching and writing, and doing self-publishing, that's a full-time job all by itself.
Yeah, I have a few full-time jobs. It feels like right now, yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, you've been on Wattpad since how long?
2016.
Oh, okay, because I see you got the shortlist for the rounds for the Wattie Awards in 2017.
Yep, I did. Yep. So I got lucky with that. When it was back in the old system, I got featured in the fantasy category or the young adult category. I can't remember which one. Oh no, it was adventure. It was when they still had like all these like categories, and you could get featured in them, and then you ended up on like a featuring page, and it was back when you could be discovered a little bit easier. And so, yeah, I got some attention for it at the time, and then it got shortlisted, so which was good.
Okay, that must have been a very interesting experience, especially since you went on to win an award for When Stars Fall in 2020.
Yep. So that When Stars Fall is probably my most popular book on the platform. Well, it is my most popular book on the platform. It won in 2020. Which was exciting because I had put it forward one other year, I wrote it in 2017, so I probably put it forward in 2017 or 2018, and I didn't get anything, and then I didn't enter it, and then I was like, oh, I'll try again, and then in 2020 I won, so that was good.
What makes you want to keep on entering a book, especially if it's not gotten accepted the first time?
Well, it had gone into the paid stories program, so it was then going to go against a different stack of books, and I had actually rewritten parts of it fairly substantially for my agent, and then also I had just learned to be a better writer, so I had also spent some time editing it as well, so I felt like it was a slightly better product than when I had initially entered it. I felt like I knew more about how to craft a story, so I was hopeful that maybe it would do a little bit better, so yeah. Okay,
so you're saying the book changed substantially between the very first time you wrote it and when you actually won the award?
Definitely. I don't know if I should have used the word substantial, because I would say it still followed a similar arc, and it still had, it was still a very similar story. The ending had changed a little bit, but I was better at understanding the narrative flow within the chapter, and then also like grammatically speaking, I think I also improved and understood some of the writing conventions a little bit better too. So
yeah, see, I would say, right, at least I'm copying this line from somewhere, I just don't know where, that that editing is writing is rewriting.
Yes. Oh, for sure, all the time.
Right,
and I think you end up self-editing yourself all the time, and then when you go back to something that's older that you wrote a year ago or 2 years ago, and you look at it and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I wrote that. Like, oh God, I could do so much better now. And I think that's it. In the moment, it feels terrible that you're like, oh, I put out a product that's like substandard. But at the same time, if there's that much growth, I mean, that in itself is incredible. So.
And I just keep in contact with authors who say that they never edit, that they just write it and just put it on Wattpad, and they never ever touch it again.
Yeah, I'm constantly tweaking my stories, so I can't relate to that. I'm constantly tweaking and rereading, and yeah, and like editing always at the line level all the time. There's always a better way to say something, I think. So I always think there is. There isn't always, but I always think there is.
I know, but things, just editing the stories and making them better doesn't slow you down at all. I mean, you've got 21 stories on Wattpad, 21 published stories, it says. So that's you're obviously doing something right there. What's your secret?
I don't watch TV very much. I would say that's like, that was a few years ago. One of my colleagues asked me like how I found the time to write, and it's that I just don't really watch TV. So if you spend those hours doing something else, it's not that hard to find the time. Some people probably spend it playing video games or on social media or whatever. It's how you choose to spend your time.
I feel a little bit called out there. I mean,
Which part?
Yeah, I swear I've not been playing Fortnite. That's not me. No. Right. Okay. I was going to ask you. Okay. So back to Mismatched. What's happening with that? Is that going up with W by Wattpad?
Yeah. So it goes out by W by Wattpad Books, and right now we're looking at a tentative June 2023 release date. I haven't started the editing process yet. I'm waiting for my edit letter, so I imagine we'll stay on track. I mean, we did with When Stars Fall, and that was a very tight timeline. So I would imagine that it'll be fine with Mismatched as well. So, but yeah, I haven't started the editing process, so I don't know how that story is going to change yet, but it's coming.
Okay, well, I'm here scrolling through your Wattpad page, and there are so many different titles. Which one has been your favorite to write?
Oh goodness. It's one of those things where whichever one you're writing in the moment is your favorite. So right now I'm writing The Nanny, and I'm like really deep into Paige and Ash, who are the characters of that. And so it's hard to think of anyone else, but like When Stars Fall is always going to have a soft spot in my heart because it was one of the first times where I ever thought that I could write and get like a really big audience. And then the other one that I love for various reasons is Heavy Crown. It's like Alex and Rory, and it's like a forbidden love, and he's going to be the king and he can't marry her, and it's just like deliciously terrible.
Yeah, I'm looking at all the abs there. It's like so many abs.
Yes, abs are important. Abs are like super important. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you.
Makes me want to work out.
Too, so.
Just looking at your covers makes me want to work out. Okay, so the self-publishing process has got to be vastly different than the. Excuse me, 1 second. Did it just turn on?
Heavy Crown for the win. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. The chaos of having the kids at home.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was asking you about the publishing process, the self-publishing process. It's got to be vastly different than the process you're going through right now for that you went through with your publishers and now with Wattpad. Can you talk about the differences?
So for traditional publishing, you get a little bit of input into the cover, and you get and then you get this really long edit letter. Like I think my one for When Stars Fall was like 9 pages. I'm pretty sure Deanna at the time told me they could be up to 25 pages. So if you can imagine like writing a 100K novel and getting a 25-page edit letter, I think that would be like, I would die. But mine was about 9 pages, and it's very detailed, in-depth feedback about like character arcs, about the actual plot structure, narrative structure, about the themes and issues you have going on, and like what's tied in and what's not, and whatever else, and then like where that particular editor sees the story going, like strengths and also shortfalls. So that part's really interesting, the edit letter part, because when you self-publish, you get to pick your own editor, but it feels a little bit like Russian roulette, in the sense that you don't, until you find someone that you really gel with well, it can be difficult to find someone who does what you need them to do, or has the experience level that you need, or sees the story in the same way that you do. So especially with developmental edits, because if you get someone to do like a sample edit, they're really only editing maybe the first chapter or two for that sample edit. So it's hard to know when you hire them if they will see the story the same way that you will. So that I would think for me personally, one of the biggest challenges of self-publishing is finding editors that I feel connected to.
It's not even promotion or anything. It's just about getting that edit. For
me, it is because the part that I love about this is the writing part. So like I want to be well edited, and I want to feel like my story's improving and whatever the case may be. So that for me is the real crux of it, I guess.
Okay, we have a comment here from Senria. Just Senria, just so you know, the interview will go up in our archive on Instagram after it's over, so you can feel free to come back. So Wendy and I are just going to keep on talking about all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so so you also went into page stories. I mean, okay, I'm all over the place here with your journey, because it's been such a different journey for you. I mean, you've got the Watties, you've got the finalists in the CBC competition, which came through your being in a Wattpad star.
No, I wasn't even a star then. So it was a Canada-wide contest, and it was for a TV pilot for CBC Gems, I think, and there were certain parameters that you needed to meet, and so I did the whole thing, and I made the top 10, and then you had to write more when you got into the top 10. Like, we got a little bit of money, and then you had to write more to be in the top 10. But I would say that probably getting in the top 10 of that competition was one of the things that spurred me into becoming a Wattpad star. Like, I think that was like a jumping off point for me to get the invitation to be a Wattpad star.
Well, it's a great thing to actually be noticed. When Wattpad notices you, they really notice you.
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay, well, so you've been in paid stories with Rain Stars for how long have you been in paid stories?
So I had the CBC Gem thing, I think in 2018. I think it was like the fall of 2018. And that's when I got also the invitation into Wattpad Stars. And then in December or January, so December 2018 or January 2019, I got the invitation for paid stories, and then it went into the paid stories program. I think, is that right? Maybe it was, I don't know, I might have my years. The pandemic has messed with my brain. But I think it was either April of 2019 or April of 2020. Part of me feels like it might have been 2020. But I don't know. I'd have to go back and look again. So.
Okay, well, that was a little bit involved question there. Let's just move on. So you've got a couple of series, the Belle Reve Royal series that's got Olympic Crown, Scarred Crown, Heavy Crown, Fallen Crown, which you can actually buy. You can go to Wendy's Wattpad and get a link to the stories.
Yeah, they're all up for pre-order on Amazon. So.
That's a lot. How big are these books?
So Fate Crown, which it might say Olympic Crown on yours. It depends on when you pulled that up. But it's 77,000 words. And then Scarred Crown's 124,000 words. Heavy Crown is 120. And then the last one, Fallen Crown, is around 100.
It's amazing how well committed to memory you have those.
Oh, well, that's because I'm doing edits on them, so I have to pay by the word, so I know how many words there are. So.
Right, and if you were actually going into like a print copy, you'd be able to tell me how many pages for each book too. Yep.
I did that for, so I know that Fate Crown is 282 pages, so yep.
Yeah, those figures get into your head. They're often completely pointless, but it's a good thing to know because you can imagine how big the book is.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, you also have the Little Falls series, and these are available on Radish.
Yeah.
Rival Hearts, Mending Hearts, Guarding Hearts.
Yeah.
There's the Bodyguard. Oh, they changed the titles when they get there. And the last one is Healing Hearts.
Yeah, so Healing Hearts I haven't written because I decided to try out third person past just to see if I liked writing in it. And I wrote 3 books in third person past and decided I hated it and I never want to go back to it. But I still have to write that 4th book at some point. So
Do you often write in first person?
I normally write in first person, either present or past. That's my preference. But as an experiment, I thought I would write in third past, and I actually got those books edited. So they're all edited, and because I wanted to learn better how to do third person past, because I didn't feel very like I was very strong in it. It takes me a lot longer to write. It's not as instinctual for me. So I got those books professionally edited because I wanted to learn what I was doing wrong. And then but then I just haven't gone back and written the 4th book. So it's just, I have the idea. I just can't make myself write it yet.
Plus, you're avoiding your writing in third person past.
Exactly. And
Come on, it's not that painful.
You can't and the other thing is I can write 2 first person books at the same time. So I can have one going over here and one going over here and no problem. But you can't do a third past and a first past or present. Like, it just all makes, you end up making too many mistakes. So, and I did try that at one point and it just was not good. So.
Yeah, that's one thing that you will find a lot of writers doing. They tend to slip into they go from the first person into the third person sometimes, and you can always tell where their brain is. Yeah.
I have to be careful even when I read while I'm writing. Just if it's third pass, then my brain wants to slip into the wrong tense or wrong whatever, depending on what I'm writing. So.
Okay, well, I can't even ask you about any movies or anything since you don't watch any TV really.
Don't very often, no.
Okay, so I guess no favorite shows, but you do have a lot of romance here. So your genre is straight romance.
I would say most of my stories have some sort of romantic plot or subplot. Like even the young adult fantasy series, like The Realms and The Wishing Tree, and the 3rd one that I still need to finish writing, they're all. They're fantasy, but I would say they're fantasy romance and with a young adult sort of slant. And then all the other ones are fairly, well, they're romance. They're romance books.
Okay, so we're gonna go back to where's Mismatched? Oh, there it is. To Mismatched for a second. When is this coming out on Wattpad? Wattpad Books.
Wattpad Books is June 2023. That's when that's slated to come out right now. Is June 2023.
Any exciting things are going to be happening for that? Are you going to be doing like a book launch or anything?
So when I talked to the Wattpad Books team about it, they seem to have some exciting ideas for it. I don't think I'm allowed to talk about any of them, but
okay. Maybe when it's actually finalized and is ready to promote.
For sure, like closer to next year when it's getting ready to come out, I would love to come back and talk about it. But it's for sure there were some really great ideas about things that we might be able to do, or that kind of stuff. So
okay, well, let me just read the synopsis right now. So Mismatched, it's got 946,000 reads on Wattpad, so it's getting close to that million mark.
I know. I'm so close to the million mark. I just need someone to come bump me over.
Are you checking every day?
No, I'm not. It only goes up by a couple of thousand every day. So I've got a while to go before it actually hits that million mark. So
yeah, you hope that one day you can wake up and just see all these notifications. Read.
Yeah. That only happens when you're on the front page. But yeah.
Okay, well, here's the synopsis. Taylor Murphy is done waiting for Mr. Right when her best friend meets and marries her match from an exclusive dating service. Taylor decides to seize the success Game Set Match promises. With a 99% success rate, what could go wrong? When his name turns up on Taylor's match screen, she's filled with disbelief. Simon Buchanan broke her heart 6 years ago, and he certainly isn't her soulmate. Simon Buchanan has never gotten over breaking up with Taylor Murphy, and the circumstances around the demise have haunted him for years. When he opens his email to find he's been matched with her through Game Set Match, he'll do anything to grasp his second chance at love and prove to Taylor they really are a perfect match. So this sounds like it's written with swapping perspectives.
Yeah, dual point of view. So yeah, it switches every chapter. It starts with Taylor and then it goes to Simon and back and forth. So yeah.
Oh yeah, if you look at the table of contents, boom, there it is.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite character here?
So
it seems like you have a soft spot for Simon.
How do you know that? I do have it's interesting because it's one of those books where I get a lot, like Simon gets a lot of hate in that book. So he does. So
why? Readers seem to want to hate the good characters.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that Simon is good at the start, but I don't think he's as terrible as readers think. But part of it is because I'm the writer. So like I know where I'm going and I know what how the character is going to grow and change, and the book's already written, I know all of that stuff. So a reader just starting out, I think it takes until, I don't know, maybe like chapter 30 or something before the readers are like, oh, maybe this guy's not so bad. So it's like halfway through the book almost. So
yes. Chapter 30?
It's like the late 20s, early 30s before people start to think that Simon's not so bad, but it does take a while. He gets there in the end. So
yeah, come on, readers. The characters have to be able to grow. They have to be able to go somewhere.
Yeah, that's how I feel. But I think sometimes on Wattpad they and I mean, maybe in regular reading too, you don't know because people can't comment, but it's a lot of times they're looking for characters that maybe don't have as many flaws as I like to put in. So
yeah, but even just watching the movies, and this is a much shorter time frame than reading the book, the characters go through so much growth in the space of 2 hours. There are certain rhythms in stories that we all know, so you would think readers would be a little bit more sympathetic and a little savvy when reading.
Yeah, well, and it's hard to tell too sometimes on Wattpad whether or not people are commenting just to be controversial too, like to incite discussion or whatever the case may be. It's hard to know how much of that is like genuine feeling from people versus like them trying to get something going.
Have you been planting commenters?
No.
I wish I thought of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go over to the it's 4:25. You have 5 minutes left, so let's go into the advice portion of this. What advice would you give to writers starting out? Because they're going to look at you and see that you've gone from being a writer, you've gone to paid, you're getting your book published, you're like hitting all the jackpots.
So I don't know if I have any, like, I would say be a good reader and a thoughtful reader. I think that helps a lot when you're reading other people's things, to think about what it is that you like about someone else's writing, what it is that draws you in about a particular storyline. I think that's really helpful as a learning exercise. I think being open to revision and redrafting and sometimes to throwing things out that aren't working is an important step. And putting yourself out there. If you keep that manuscript in your drawer for your whole life, you're never gonna do anything with it. So taking a chance and putting yourself out there, I think, is a huge thing too.
There's this whole thing going around about imposter syndrome, and I know you don't have imposter syndrome because you're out there, you're doing it, you're getting your work written and you are putting it out there. So have you ever had imposter syndrome, and how'd you get over it?
Oh yeah, it hits everybody. I think anyone who says that they've never ever experienced it would be lying, or
I've never experienced it.
Yeah, it's never.
I'm lying.
I don't know that you really. I don't know if there is a good way to deal with it. I think it's just it's a process to kind of get through it, and I think as long as you identify that everybody's on their own journey and their own path, and looking at someone else's success or looking at the way that someone else writes, that like comparing yourself to someone else is never going to breed happiness, I don't think, in anything. So it's important, I think, to look inwards as much as possible and at your own ability to improve and to grow and to thrive. And you know, it's like I said at the very beginning, when I look at a book that I wrote a couple of years ago and I think, oh my God, I'm so much better than I used to be. I mean, that's huge growth, huge personal growth for me. And I think if I take my rewards from that instead of looking externally for them, then that's more fulfilling, at least for me.
Good words, very good words. It's kind of like try to emulate what they're doing rather than just being jealous.
Yeah, I think so. As much as it's possible to, and then the other side of it is to not be afraid to just be yourself and to be what it is that you need for your writing or your story or your characters to be, to feel that sense of fulfillment. But if you're constantly chasing something and you don't ever take a chance to sort of bask in the glow of whatever you've already achieved, then there's no happiness there either. So.
Okay, excellent words to take us out on. Okay, well, Wendy, thank you so much for joining us. We have a couple of panels coming up, and I hope you're going to be joining one of our panels in the future. We're doing monthly panels for the rest of the year, and Wattpad is going to be joining us later on in the year to really help promote a few things. So it's going to be an interesting time for Wattpadders to be involved with WritersConnX. We do have another panel on April 10th where we discuss the Wattie experience, like we just discussed your Wattie experience, but a little bit more in depth. Past winners and long or short listers will give you insight into what they learned in their Wattie experience. It's at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, April 9th. You can find details on our Wattpad profile or on the website at WritersConnX. Remember, we have a lot more of these interviews coming every week, like three days a week is what I'm trying for right now, right here on Instagram Live. So keep an eye out for our schedule. Once again, thank you, Wendy. Thank you for joining us. Your social media is a little different on Instagram and on Wattpad and Twitter. So I think the best way to probably find you is search for Wendy Million on Wattpad.com.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and I will see you later.
All right.
Say bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, for WritersConnX, I was and I still am Rodney V. Smith, and I will